how do they access it from their laptop and their phone at the same time? I don't know. Other people do that. I don't know how to do that. Okay, whoever is here with me, I'm trying to set up the super chat so that I can answer questions. So if anyone has any questions or thoughts or comments, I don't know if it's just for the computer that you guys can comment on the chat or if you're able to access it on your phone too. So I'll just post it there. You can come in. You're the one watching? There's just one person watching, and that must be you.
Can I comment? Or can I do a super chat?
Yeah, you can comment.
Can I donate money? Because it's your own money.
No, you cannot do that. There's a little bit of a lag on here, about 10 seconds. Nobody has any questions. No questions. Questions, thoughts, comments, ideas. Man, people are floating in and out. Thanks for staying. My one loyal subscriber. Lil Sten, do you have kids? No. I don't have any children. No children at all. Yeah, I have kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. It's so hot in here. You need the air conditioner on.
I know, but it's gonna be too loud. So, no, I'm okay. I'm totally okay.
You're gonna get heat sick.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
I don't believe that.
That's okay.
Can I get on
Yes, I have kids. Okay, does anyone else have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, ideas? You just want to chat, you just want to vent. Dystonia questions, questions about tremors, questions about hair, questions about life. I don't know. Ibra, I hope I'm saying that right. Have I cured my dystonia? No, I haven't cured it. I don't think at this point in time that there is a cure for dystonia, but I have treated it with acupressure, which is a lot like acupuncture. So in acupuncture, you use needles, but with acupressure, you just use your hands. And I had scheduled, so let's go back to 2016 when my tremors first started. I had scheduled a visit to get the Botox done, but the soonest they could see me was a few months out, and I figured that I should probably stay proactive in the meantime. So I had made an appointment to see a physical therapist. And while I was in the physical therapist's office, she diagnosed me accurately with dystonia and said, you know, let's just try a couple different things. And what she called it was resetting the muscle. And so back here in my neck, you have all these overlaying muscles, but there was just one in particular that constantly was spasming, like whether I was awake or asleep. The only thing for me that really made it stop shaking was if I had my head looking all the way back or all the way down. So you think about flexion and tension. If the muscle was completely stretched out, that's what made it to stop shaking. Sorry, I'm getting distracted, but going back to the physical therapist visit, she found the one muscle in my neck that continued to shake, and she pressed down on it very, very firmly. I mean, to the point where it was painful, like I was on the verge of tearing up. She pushed down so hard, and she held that muscle down for about 10 minutes. Again, she described it as like resetting the muscle. I don't know if it was like a cramp that was in it that was causing it to spasm, but she said basically this muscle thinks that it needs to be on 24/7. And so the only way to like reprogram it would be to reset it so that it knows, okay, you don't need to be on, you don't need to be shaking 24/7. As soon as she released that muscle, I mean, immediately I sat up and I was like 80% better with my shaking. And for me, that was like a light bulb, like, okay, this is going to be it. This is something special. This is what's going to work for me. Now, that's not to say that that type of a treatment will work for everyone. There are tons of treatment options available. Someone had mentioned, Sabrina, you asked if I have had Botox. I ended up canceling my Botox appointment because the acupressure worked so great for me. I didn't need the Botox. But that is an excellent treatment option that's out there. Botox lasts for about 3 months, and there's, you know, pros and cons to every option for you. The good news to Botox is that there have been so many people that swear by it. They say it was perfect for them. It was everything that they needed. The downside, one of the downsides would be it's kind of expensive, depending on whether your insurance will cover it or not. And maybe 2 people that I've talked to, and I've talked to dozens, so maybe 2 or 3 said that when they got the Botox, it didn't target the muscle that they needed it to target. But you still have to wait for that to get out of your system before you can go in for another treatment. So example, let's say that I needed Botox right here, but the needle just barely missed it and ended up getting into a different muscle. Excuse me. I would still have to wait 3 months for that. Again, Botox is a botulinum toxin. It paralyzes it temporarily. You still have to wait for that to get out of your system before the doctor will go ahead and give you another injection, another treatment. So that could be a potential downside. Another potential downside that I've heard from different people is that Botox, after using it for years and years and years, it becomes less effective. But that doesn't mean don't try it. You know, maybe that's exactly what you need is Botox, and it gives you the relief that you've been looking for. But again, for me, I thankfully I didn't have to go down that road because the acupressure and the physical therapy just worked so amazing for me. Shauna Dodson, hi. I'm just taking questions today, or any thoughts or anything you guys want to talk about. I have some free time, so I figured I might as well check in and let everyone know that I am alive. And I have a couple of videos that I've filmed over the last few months that I'm trying to edit. I think the hardest part for me is editing. I can film a lot, but when it comes to editing, I get overwhelmed, and then I will just sit on my desktop and I will do nothing about it. And months and months goes by and everyone's like, are you even alive? Yes, I'm still alive. July was incredibly hard. I think 2020 has been incredibly hard for everyone, but July was filled with a lot of loss. Twisted Sister had 2 years and 8 rounds of Botox and it stopped working for me. Yes, that's what I've heard. I've heard that after a while it can just stop being effective. So then I would ask Twisted, what other things have you tried? Again, going back to our treatment options, obviously there's Botox, physical therapy, acupressure, that's what worked for me, but also there's acupuncture. There is chiropractor, which in a weird way, I know it doesn't really seem like it can help, but it can be beneficial. There's also medications that have helped. I would say definitely do your research. Definitely do your research before you start any of the medications, because the majority of medications out there are called benzodiazepines. And one of the side effects that they're kind of going for to help you reduce your tremors is it kind of makes you sleepy, like lethargic, really heavy. It slows you down. And so consequently, you can't really function as you normally do. You can't really do all the things that you would want to do. You definitely don't want to drive. If you're a parent, you can't function at 100% if you're constantly on benzodiazepines. So if that treatment option sounds like it might be helpful, just do your research. I'm always an advocate for researching things by yourself instead of having me or a doctor or anyone tell you what you need to do. Look at your treatment options, because everything works differently for everyone. And so I have a couple more questions. Okay. Medication. Okay, Twisted Sister, you tried medication, physical therapy, and acupuncture. You have spasmodic torticollis. Okay, if I understand correctly, spasmodic torticollis, is it more of like a turning of the head, maybe a higher shoulder and then a turning of the head? Is that how that operates? I have to wait like 10 seconds because as I'm filming, it takes a while. There's like a lag for you guys to hear what I'm saying. Okay, well, I'm waiting for you to respond to that question. I am not obviously a, okay, yes, shows up turning head to the right and chest keep. Okay, yeah. So that's my understanding of how it operates too. Hey, I'm live streaming. That means that I'm on the camera right now. And if you want to be on the camera, that's okay, but you definitely got to put pants on.
I just need Mom's face. I made a huge mess.
You made a huge mess? Okay, Mommy's got to answer some questions.
With popcorn.
With popcorn? Yeah, the dog will love that. Okay, back to what I was saying. Okay, shoulders up. Yes. So when I first went to a movement disorder specialist, which is kind of after you see a primary doctor, for anyone who hasn't been officially diagnosed with dystonia or torticollis yet, but you have a hunch that that's kind of what's going on with you. Kind of the path that I went down was I had to see a primary doctor so that he could give me a referral. Otherwise, the insurance wouldn't pay for me to see a movement disorder specialist. Then once I got to the movement disorder specialist, she was the one that was going to do all of the Botox and everything like that. But in the meantime, I was able to see a physical therapist, which, like, who are we talking to? Twisted Sister. Twisted Sister didn't have as great of results as I did. Again, there are tons of different options. So keep that in mind if you're in the beginning or the middle, or you've been doing this for a long time. Don't get discouraged, because the body fluctuates, the body changes. You think about all the different stressors that are in your life. It causes you to clench up, and maybe we don't think that stress is affecting our muscular issues, but it is. That's just the truth of it. But back to what I was saying. I'm sorry. This is like my second Red Bull, and I am flying through my thoughts right now. One of the things that the movement disorder specialist said that really resonated with me, I remembered it, is that with dystonia or torticollis, the longer you have this, like the more you are going to visually change, like other people would recognize it. So she grabbed my driver's license and she asked me just to stay still for a little bit. And she said, yeah, I can tell you raise your right shoulder up a lot higher. And until she brought it to my attention, I had never realized that. But ever since that point, like I realized like, oh, like even when I sleep, it's so much more comfortable for me to put my right shoulder up, which is really perpetuating the problem. It's making it a lot worse. We want to try our hardest to self-regulate. So once I notice that shoulder going up, I'm supposed to put it back down, but it's almost like a stretch, like an uncomfortable stretch at this point. Like it just wants to be up there and that's comfortable, but pulling it back down is not comfortable at all. Raquel, you have that same problem. So Botox can help with that. I don't know how long you've been on here, but we were talking briefly a few minutes ago about Botox. It will last for about 3 months, and then you have to go in and get another Botox injection. So it's a great treatment option, but unfortunately it's not a cure at this point. Okay, Sabrina, I just read this message. I'm getting a lot of different messages, so I'm sorry that I missed this one. You were saying that we can message you, or Sabrina should message you on Instagram. I just want to take a minute to talk about all of the social media platforms that are out there specifically for people with movement disorders and dystonia and torticollis. There are tons on Facebook. I mean, like I counted about 12 and there's probably more. Some of them are very specific to the area that you're living in. I tried to join one group and they're like, I'm sorry, you're not living in Australia, so you can't be a part of this group. I'm like, okay, totally, that's fine. So some of them are a little bit more specific on how to enter or how to allow you to enter their group, but the majority of them, you can be from anywhere. They just want a place where they can talk about what they're going through, share ideas, and just a place to vent. Because I think that's huge too, is if you're struggling with this, especially if you have been for some time, if you try to talk to someone who's never experienced not being able to control their own body, there's a certain measure of empathy that they have, but there's still that little piece where they don't really understand what it means to lose abilities, to lose the ability of keeping your head straight. You know, it's I've said before, it's almost like your body's betraying you. So even though right now I have my head shakes really well under control, something that I've noticed probably within the last 4 to 6 months is I'm getting tremors in my fingers, which is kind of bizarre. It started in this hand. I posted a video about it a couple months ago. It was just this hand. Now it's on my right hand too. And then my legs have been getting tremors. And I have no idea what that is about. I'm gonna close my bedroom door real quick. My kids are up and they are bored. And so their dad is home and he can entertain them. Sorry, honey. But generally something like what I was diagnosed with was cervical dystonia. Again, cervical being the top of the spine. So that portion of the spine, top spine dystonia, which is shaking. Raquel, you heard that it can go to other parts. See, I heard that it couldn't go to other parts. So I will do more research on that one, because I think that's a good question, especially with all of the issues that I'm dealing with right now. It is kind of getting in the way of normal life. And I think that's when you really have that red flag and you're like, okay, I need to do something about this. I need to be proactive. If it is inhibiting your life, then then it's time to figure out what's going on. You have been going through this since 2008 and you're exhausted. I am sincerely so sorry to hear that, because let's see, let me do math. That's what, 12 years? I can't imagine. I didn't go through it for that long before I found physical therapy. And then when I found out that was working, I did physical therapy once a week, and we continued to do it until I got my shaking under control. So honestly, I can't even imagine how exhausting that would be. Not only physically exhausting, because I remember like your muscles get hard as a rock because they are constantly exercising and shaking and moving, but also how mentally and emotionally exhausting that would be. Aaron, I hope I'm saying that right. Aaron, can you show dystonia exercise, please? Yes, I can. I actually have a couple different videos on it, but let's see. I will just grab my husband's tie because it conveniently has to be right here. Okay, so one of the things that I learned in physical therapy is that regardless of whichever muscle it is in your neck that's shaking, it's not specific to that, but you want to engage the other muscles. So think of it like this one muscle has been working and working and working and working, and it's exhausted and it's hard as a rock. You want the other muscles to start strengthening themselves so that they can kind of ease the pressure off of it. So things like, again, let's pretend this is a stretchy band because I don't have one at my disposal right now. So even though this is a tie, we want something with a little bit more flexion. So you're not going to get too much. I don't want to rip it. This is one of his favorite ties. You can't really see me. Sorry, that was a really loud, annoying sound. No, you still can't see me. Basically, you want to keep your arms at your sides. No chicken wings, arms at your sides, and just simple movements, simple pulling. And as you're doing that, you can kind of feel how that opens up in your back a little bit, not huge, because again, you don't want to stress your body out. You're stressed as it is. Regardless of how long you've been dealing with this, you don't want to make things worse by pinching a muscle, which is going to be really, really easy to do, especially if it's all swollen and hard as a rock. You don't want to pinch any muscles, you don't want to sprain any muscles, and you don't want to stress any of them out. Yes, just 1 minute, world.
It's not gluten-free or lactose intolerant, but since Monday haven't we already done the gluten-free week?
No, we're gonna pass on that one. Sorry. My oldest is on a gluten-free diet, and there are not that many great gluten-free options out in the world right now. Okay. Raquel, you pinched your muscle in your sleep? I've done that. I have felt like I got hit by a truck in my sleep, and I don't even know how that's possible. Like, have we gotten to the age where sleeping is a dangerous activity? Okay, please check out Dr. Joaquin Free. Okay, I do have a thought on this. Dr. Joaquin, on his TED Talks, that TED Talk is what made me decide to start blogging. So the man who has dystonia, and he decided to see Dr. Joaquin and start dancing, and that was his treatment because he was engaging all these other muscles and it helped him to control it. That was so profound for me too, to see that. It gave me so much hope. The one thing that really kind of crushed me, and I found frustrating, is that Dr. Joaquin, we'll just keep saying that, his seminars are incredibly expensive. And when I saw that TED Talks video, I searched out the doctor and saw that it was going to be impossible for me to ever have a conversation with him or to ever glean any of his knowledge. And that was so crushing at that point in time. Like, how am I, someone who doesn't have the money, how am I going to get treatment? Because back in 2016, I've never even heard of dystonia. It was this completely new thing to me, and that's when I decided that I wanted to start filming, and I wanted to share everything that helped, but I also wanted to share everything that didn't help. So maybe in that sense, it would be more relatable, more personalized, and I wanted to do it in a way that was free and accessible to everyone. I've talked to people all over the world from using YouTube by making these vlogs, and I'd say like the big chunk, maybe 30 or 40% of the people that I've talked to live in India, and consistently everyone that's from India says that there's no way that they can get any type of health care, and that's so heartbreaking. They can't, they don't have those options. They don't have any treatment options. This is just it. They're by themselves, they're on their own. And so I wanted to, I don't know, just share as many things that you can do at home that might make a difference, that might be beneficial. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and read some questions. Sorry, I keep going off on these tangents. Shauna Dodson, how do I control my tremor? Acupressure. And let me see if there's a way that I can post a link to the video I made. I had my husband help me do exactly what my physical therapist does. In order to do it though, you have to have two people. It's if you reach up and you use acupressure on yourself, it's not going to have the same effect, because if you think about, we're stretching this muscle in order to get back there. So you need all of these muscles to be relaxed in order to effectively, again, like my physical therapist said, reset. I know that there's probably a technical term for that, but I don't know. And it just makes sense. Like, okay, let's reset it. I think it's like future retro. Okay. Future retro. Is anyone here taking clonazepam? I'm not, so I'm going to open that question up to you guys. And if you are, if you could please also comment on how long you've been taking it, and if it is effective or not effective.
Did you make a video?
Yeah, we're still on.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
Alright, well, I'll just speak real quick.
Okay.
I'm packaging 4 things, and I gotta get peanuts, and I gotta get specialty boxes, and when I come back, I need your help lifting up that transmission and put it outside so I can pay it, and then we'll load it in the back of the truck.
Perfect.
Love you.
Sounds good. Love you. Okay. Future retro, we have a lot of yeses. Okay, I have a follow-up question on this. Is clonazepam, am I saying it right? Is it a benzodiazepine? Yes. Okay. Then do you notice those groggy side effects that, because my doctor was telling me that benzos would give you this really, he said almost like you're wearing a really heavy jacket. It just kind of makes you slower and more tired, maybe less energy. Oh, sleepy. Okay, maybe that's what he was saying. Yeah. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine having side effects on top of everything else. I think the hardest part is, how do you function? I would ask that question. How do you function always feeling so sleepy? Patagrin? Rivoltron? I can't read any of these. Sabrina, it's not easy, but you can do it. Oh, I love that attitude. I love that attitude. Yes. Yes, I think that this is the perfect spot to complain. Please complain away, because there's not too many in the world that go through this. And so when we have the opportunity to like face to face talk to somebody else that does, I love to hear everything that you guys are going through, but I also love that positive attitude, because we have to keep getting through this, especially if you have family, especially if you have little kids that, they need their parents. You have to just kind of push through it. Let's see, let's go back to some of these questions that I've missed. Okay, Twisted Sister. Everyone should really take Epsom salt baths several times a week. And if you're not allergic to it, drink chamomile tea. Now, I have heard of Epsom salt baths, but I thought that was for muscle cramps. Is that kind of like the point of it is for muscle cramps, or is it like is it a magnesium base? I don't know. I feel like it's magnesium in there, which helps with cramps. I personally love chamomile tea, but it will knock me out. I am a lightweight in the tea world. Raquel, I get muscle cramps. Okay, I have a really good question that I want to ask everyone that's on here right now. So again, let's go back to 2016, which was 4 years ago. You can do math. I don't know why I said that. And all of my symptoms started, and one common thing that kept happening was the pain, the really extreme pain that I was feeling. And let's see, it took me up until about 2020 to hear this diagnosis from my doctor. Sorry, I keep burping because of the Red Bull. Have you heard of RSD? It's reflex sympathetic dystrophy syndrome, but it's also called CRPS, which is complex regional pain syndrome. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this up is because when my doctor had talked to me about it, he asked me if I should if I could read all of what it says. Let me see if I can actually just copy and paste what I'm reading to you guys in here, because one of the symptoms of RSD is dystonia. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always thought about dystonia being the cause, the root underlying problem, and then that's filtering out into pain, obviously, because it's a motor disability. But again, going back to, okay, well, the dystonia caused the pain, and the pain causes the anxiety. The anxiety feeds into the pain, which feeds into depression. But what if dystonia is a symptom of an underlying problem? That thought kind of blew my mind when he said that. And I'm trying to find where it said, I don't know if this was the particular one that he showed me about RSD. I'm gonna keep looking for it because it did talk about dystonia. Let me just search real quick. Okay, here we go. rsd.org. I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay, so check this out real quick. I'm going to read some of the symptoms of RSD. Obviously, let's just go with dystonia first. So, limited range of motion, weakness, and other motor disorders such as paralysis or dystonia. Symptoms and signs can wax and wane. So that means that maybe you're doing really good, you've gone into remission, but then the next season, it's full blown. Your dystonia is way worse than it ever was. Continuing pain, moderate to severe, heightened sensitivity to painful stimulation, abnormal skin temperature. That is, one side of the body is warmer or colder than the other side by more than 1 degree Celsius. Abnormal sweating of the affected area. This can affect anyone, but it's more common in women. Abnormal hair or nail growth, abnormal skin color changes, abnormal swelling in the affected area. Pain that is described as deep aching, cold burning, and or increased sensitivity. Okay, so these are just a few of the symptoms of, again, what's called RSD. But I thought it was a very profound thought to look at dystonia as being a symptom of something else instead of it itself being the cause of all of these issues. Can you guys relate to any of those symptoms? I mean, like, does that sound familiar to you, like what you've been dealing with? Mm-hmm. Shauna, I got my dystonia after emergency C-section. All of my issues started after a C-section too. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Raquel, it occurs in the 30th. I'm not sure I understand. Susie, yes, I have secondary dystonia. Ooh, I have never heard about that. Due to something else, maybe PNKD. I have this faulty gene on the PNKD gene, but no diagnosis as yet. How did you find that? Oh, I mean, how did you get a doctor to go about genetic testing? Because I had two primary doctors that I had asked, because I heard that this can be hereditary, and so I asked if they would test me to see if they could find any, genetic marker for my kids. But when I asked both doctors, they're like, "That's not even possible. I don't know what you're talking about." That was my doctor voice. They don't sound like that. They sound like normal people. Raquel. Oh, in your 30s. You got yours in your 30s. Okay, yeah. I got mine at 28. About 20, 27, 28. Are complementary therapies of any use to anyone? When you say complementary therapies, I'm not sure what that means. Ooh, you guys got it very young. And you're 19. Wow. That is crazy young. Okay, so I have a question. How many people here that have symptoms of dystonia or torticollis or any motor disability, how many notice their symptoms after an accident or an injury? Again, let's include the idea of surgeries, because surgeries are kind of traumatic. So how many people here notice their symptoms after a surgery, an accident, or a traumatic injury? Mine started after a C-section. A stressful life event. Yeah, I find it fascinating how our mental health is so closely tied to our physical health. Twisted Sister, I had a car accident. It wasn't too severe, and shortly thereafter, I felt my head pulling to the right. I had a hard time getting a doctor to listen to me because they all thought I was crazy. Mine thought I was crazy too. He made me see a psychiatrist and get a psychological evaluation before he would refer me to a movement disorder specialist. So yeah, that one kind of hurt, but they just don't know. It's relatively a new thing. I mean, it's not new, but in the medical community, it's maybe not as well known as something like cancer, that everyone, you say that word and everyone knows what you're talking about. Whereas you say dystonia and not too many are familiar with that term. Sabrina, they told you that you were having a panic attack and gave you a Benadryl. It's so disheartening. Okay, I see a couple people talking about tapping. I am not sure. Oops. Lost my computer.
Sorry.
I'm not sure what that is. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not sure what tapping is. I lost my computer, so I have to boot it back up real quick.
I can give you my phone.
It's okay. Don't even worry about it. It's not a big deal. Let me see if I can pull the messages up. Okay, tapping. EFT tapping. Okay. As soon as my laptop boots back up, I'm gonna Google that. Is it like a physical therapy? Like just in the name, it sounds like tapping. I don't know. I'm probably way off. Sorry, there's a lot of dead air here. Very silent because I'm just reading your comments and seeing if anyone. Emotional freedom technique. Tapping on meridian points. Oh. So, I mean, tapping to me kind of seems gentle. Is it gentle, or is it meant to, is it painful? Lots of EFT tapping videos on YouTube. Check out Nick Ortner. Okay, my laptop is back up. Oh, it's gentle. Okay. That's good. I'm all for gentle. You okay?
I poked myself really hard.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Yeah. That box is actually broken, so every time that you go to close it, it's gonna do that. But if you put them all back, I will finish that. Thank you very much for fixing that for me.
You're welcome.
Okay. Sorry, I'm closing. Nope, I don't want that on. Thank you. She is very excited. I think she wants to be a part of this video, but she also doesn't.
It's frying hot in here.
It is frying hot in here. It's like 90 degrees.
Turn it off, of course.
Okay, this is not gonna work. I'm just going to push it out of the way. Okay. I'm going to open YouTube back up so I can go back to reading the comments. They stay on my phone for just like a second and then they all disappear. So I'm gonna pull this up. I'm also going to turn the fan off because it is making a weird, annoying sound. Okay. Sabrina, you paid for the Dr. Joaquin Farias? I don't know how to spell his last name. If anyone wants your login info, you're a sweetheart because that's huge. What you just did to offer that information, that's huge. I love it. I really appreciate all of us coming together and trying to help one another, especially now, especially with the way the world is, it's really scary and overwhelming, and that's awesome that you're willing to share that. Oh, Rainy Poof. Yes, I will tell the child, but she left. She left the room. She means well. She was trying to help, but she is in her bedroom now. Future Retro. You did acupuncture. The first one was the most effective. Second one did some relief. And on the third one, my doctor said we should stop. No effect anymore. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It must have been very exciting to find something that worked, and then very discouraging for it to stop working. I hate that, and I'm sorry. So in the comments section, because I think that when the video is over, I'm not sure if the chat that we have open right now, I'm not sure if the thread will stay open. So again, I'm just going to really quickly post the link that we were all talking about RSD and its association with dystonia. Let me see if I can grab this link. Okay. So let me post it. Is it possible that dystonia is a symptom of RSD? Again, I find that thought very fascinating. Shauna, you've been waiting a year for cataract surgery and have to have a general because of tremors. Yeah. My grandma has tremors, and I think they had to do a general anesthesia to get her cataracts out. But it's totally possible. Honestly, after reviewing the surgery, I think I would rather be under, because otherwise, like, you can see them coming at you. That sounds terrifying. Future Retro. I'm getting off benzo now. I started taking some supplements: magnesium oil, zinc, selenium, vitamin C, vitamin B complex, B12, and also taking iodine solution. How long have you been taking those, and have you noticed any differences? One of the things that I started taking back in the winter, and then I stopped taking it simply because I forgot, was a glucosamine and chondroitin supplement. And it took about 3 days, but then I could feel that it was really helping me with my pain. Sabrina, does anyone's symptoms worsen when people look at them or talk to them? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it goes into that anxiety and panic cycle. You see someone, you get heightened anxiety. Anxiety kind of makes you clench up, and then you just trigger all of these muscles back here, and then before you know it, you're going wild. Shauna, you have to get a COVID test before surgery. Yeah, so crazy story. My oldest, a couple weeks ago, had, what's it called? Pancreas? No. Appendicitis. There we go. She had appendicitis. And they had to test all of the kids. It was in a children's hospital. They had to test everyone for COVID before they would do surgery on them. They said it really didn't make a difference during the surgery. The only difference was the doctors and the nurse needed to wear more gear to protect themselves. So they had us admitted. We stayed for 24 hours before they did anything. And then right before we got to the surgery, we asked, so she doesn't have COVID, right? Which we all assumed she didn't anyways. And then the doctor said, actually, our testing machine or whatever it was has been down, and so we don't know who has it and who doesn't. that was kind of frightening. I mean, especially being at a hospital, you know, everyone's there because they're sick or something's wrong. But thankfully, her surgery went great. We were able to come home about 24 hours later, and I think that was 2 weeks ago, and we're fine. We don't have any symptoms. Yes, social anxiety and dystonia. Yeah, they really do go hand in hand. They like feed off of each other. Social anxiety makes it worse. The dystonia worse. The dystonia makes the social anxiety worse, and it's just like this terrible cycle. Future retro. I've been taking all the supplements for less than a month, but I feel better already. Oh, I love that. That makes me so happy. I think most of the benefits are from the iodine and the magnesium. I remember when I was little, my mom would give me magnesium for growing pains, and that was huge. It helped so much. I also just watched some videos on moringa plant, moringa capsules. Oh, I've never heard of that. I'm gonna Google that. Moringa? I hope I'm saying that right. The moringa. Isn't it crazy how many plants are out there? And then they're like, wow, this really helps with this. It really helps with that. Turmeric. I heard turmeric is really good for pain, and so I took a capsule of turmeric, which is like a spice, and it burnt my stomach. It was like the most painful hour of my life. It was so bad. So, but I have a lot of friends that swear by it. They say it was so helpful for them. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Common names of moringa include the horseradish tree. People also search for turmeric. Yeah, that sounds painful already, just reading about it. I have such a little baby tummy. It's so gentle.
You have to have something on.
It's not that hot in here. To me, it's not that hot in here. Sabrina, I have been microdosing psilocybin. I know I'm saying that wrong. And I've already noticed a huge difference. A positive difference? I'm gonna assume it's a positive difference that you've noticed. Jack White, thank you so much. You rock. That is awesome. Raquel, I'm a survivor of COVID-19. That is terrifying. It's good. I mean, it's good. That I'm glad that you're a survivor, but that's terrifying to talk to someone who has it. The news has just been blowing up with everyone who's having it, and so we're at this point in our family where we just don't go outside anymore. Only my husband, who, you know, he has to go to work, he has to go downtown. Okay, actually, I have another question. I know I'm just throwing all my questions at you, but I would like to know who here suffers with specifically PTSD.
What is that?
It's post-traumatic stress disorder. It means a very traumatic event happened in your life. I do feel like there is an association. That's just my personal thoughts. The people that I've talked to, I've noticed kind of a pattern of there being a traumatic event. It doesn't have to be necessarily like an attack, but I mean, even an emergency C-section can be traumatic. A car accident can be traumatic. And so I've noticed the association with PTSD and tremors. Yeah. I'm reading the comments, and so yep. I'm seeing the very consistent pattern with PTSD and dystonia, dystonic tremors. Anxiety and depressive disorder. And you're in remission for a long time. I hope that you stay in remission, my friend. I hope that it does not come back. I have experienced really bad anxiety, and I have what's called depersonalization disorder. And so when I kind of go into those, I call them episodes, just to help my family to understand those depressive episodes. They just suck your life right out of you. Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard to talk to someone who hasn't had really bad anxiety or depression. I think it's easier to understand if you've gone through it. I think some people don't understand because, well, I'll share this with you. This very personal story about my depersonalization. If you haven't heard of the term, it's something you can Google. It kind of goes hand in hand with depression, which right now I'm on antidepressants. I'm on Prozac. I take 20 milligrams. I have been for over a year now. But I still have episodes of depersonalization. And it's something throughout my life that I had never experienced until adulthood, until maybe within the last few years or so. And it's really bizarre. Like, as I'm going to explain it to you, you're going to think I'm a crazy person. And I completely understand that, because if someone had told me, I would have been like, no, that sounds crazy. But it feels almost like you're living a dream. Like, life doesn't hit as hard as it normally does. An example is, I feel like I'm not real. That sounds crazy, I know. I looked at my hands and I didn't recognize them as being my hands, or I looked at myself in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself as being me. Like, I looked different. Like, my brain knew it was me. I knew what was going on, but just my initial reaction was that doesn't look familiar. Like, who is that? And these are just episodes of what's called depersonalization.
I've had that happen to me many times.
Really? That's something we should talk about. Right. And so if you've gone through something like that, it makes sense. It's something that you can relate to, but there's also that other half of it. Like, if you were to tell someone who's never gone through that what you're going through, it's like, it almost, like I said, it sounds crazy. I get that. It sounds crazy. And that's huge too. Yes, learning to accept yourself, accept things for what they are. And that's when I have an episode of depersonalization. Sometimes it lasts a week, sometimes it lasts shorter or longer. I never really know, but kind of my motto now is, I've been through this. I know I'm going to get through this. There's going to be an end. You never know when the end is going to be, especially with episodes of anxiety, or if you've ever had a panic attack. You kind of just have to coach yourself through it. Sometimes I'll even say it out loud. Ashley, you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're fine right now. You just need to get through this. Again, sounding like a crazy person, but you know yourself better than anyone else knows you. And so you can relate to you better than anyone else can. And so I think that's why we're all perfect coaches, to help us to get through whatever it is that we're going through, if that makes sense at all. Sabrina, yes, it is incredibly vital to have a community. You need to have a close-knit community of people who get it. And maybe they can't particularly understand, maybe they're not going through it, but you need to have support. And I think bottom line, you absolutely, if nothing else, you just need to have people in your life that are supportive and they accept you. Like what Raquel was saying, they accept your flaws. They accept the fact that if we're gonna hang out, I'm gonna be shaking. Shauna, I'm the miserable moo in the house. I don't know if that's a typo, but now I kind of want to say it all the time. I'm a miserable moo. Twisted Sister. Yes, breathing techniques, that's huge. Because a lot of our anxiety can be influenced by how quickly or how slowly we're breathing and our intentions, you know, thinking about calming yourself back down. And that's hard to do, especially if you're in the throes of a panic attack. I've tried breathing techniques right in the middle of a panic attack. It's no good. It does not give you that instant gratification that you need to snap out of that panic attack. But one thing that I found for anxiety, especially when you're in a panic attack, one thing that helps me is having air on my face. I don't know why. I just put a fan right in front of my face and I'm able to kind of begin to calm down again. That sounds crazy. Raquel, I feel like I cannot be around people. Yeah. I almost wonder in what ways this will change. I mean, like the COVID-19, in what ways this will change our anxiety and our social dynamic. Because we live here in Oregon and they got rid of the quarantine, like we're allowed to go out now. I know a lot of people still aren't, but it's changed my social dynamic. Like I don't have interaction face to face anymore. Like we do things through Zoom or through Skype. You guys are awesome. Yes, please don't isolate yourself. So if you feel like you can't be around someone face to face, I totally get that, but you need to still be socializing because that's just a part of health. So, and like we talked about like 45 minutes ago, there are so many different forums like Facebook, dystonia communities. There's Instagram too. I don't know if we talked about that yet, but there's Instagram dystonia and torticollis communities that are incredibly helpful. I can't remember. I think his name was Patrick. I'll when we're all done with this video, I'll have to search it up and put it down here in the comments below. But
description.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm smart.
Oh, you have to be in the isolation before surgery. I guess that makes sense. Do they want you to self-isolate for like two weeks before your surgery? One thing that helps me when I'm having anxiety is I bend over and touch my toes. However, in New York, that can be dangerous. Yes. But it's really good flexibility too. Shauna, yes. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. Self-quarantine for 2 weeks.
Salts.
Okay, you guys, you have been lovely. We've been talking for about an hour and 5 minutes at this point. And I really appreciate everything that you guys have shared. If you have any more questions or thoughts, or maybe you just really enjoyed our talk and you want to make this a regular thing, I would really appreciate if you leave me a comment in the comments box, because I know that the comments stay. I can't remember if the chat itself stays.
It doesn't. One of the comments.
Okay, so please share any thoughts that you guys have in the comments. I'm gonna close this video down. I really appreciate you guys being transparent and opening up. It's just really encouraging to be able to talk to other people who get it, who are struggling also, and I hope that we can continue to be a support to one another and encourage each other. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.